Palm Beach Pete, who everybody thought looked like Jeffrey Epstein. And I mean, in everyone's defense, he kind of does. That's very unfortunate for him. But there was an original video here. Hello, I'm Palm Beach Pete, not Jeffrey Epstein.
Hey everybody, this is Palm Beach Pete, and my video went viral because some dude randomly filmed me while I was driving on I-95, unbeknownst to me, and the next thing I know, I'm a viral sensation. I had my phone down for about 4 hours, and I didn't know my phone was blowing up with all these comments from that video, so I got a lot of traction. It's pretty crazy. Thanks.
So you're not Jeffrey Epstein?
I'm not Jeffrey Epstein. I'm Palm Beach Pete.
Atta boy, yeah.
Okay, peace out.
Such a weird, like, if somebody told me this was AI, I'd be like, yeah, I'd believe it, because this guy looks more like Jeffrey Epstein than the supposed body of Jeffrey Epstein. Like, he fucking looks like Epstein. Looks more like Ron Perlman. Have we ever seen Ron Perlman and Jeffrey Epstein in the same room together? And there's another video here, I think this just puts it together. He's like, I'm not Epstein, I promise. The Florida man who looks like Jeffrey Epstein from the viral video breaks his silence saying, I am not Jeffrey Epstein. This is, I guess, just a repost of the same video we just watched. He's like, please, I'm not Epstein. Thanks for the spotlight, Mario Newful. Just a regular guy from Palm Beach cruising I-95, not running any islands or jets. Phone's been chaos ever since. I like how his name, Palm Beach Pete, makes me think of Swap Meet Pete from fucking Croc, dude.
Good morning, everybody. This is Palm Beach Pete from Palm Beach, Florida. I want to thank everybody for the positive comments I got from saying I'm not Jeffrey Epstein. I'm just Palm Beach Pete. Going to play some tennis today.
Thank you, everyone, for being positive to me when I said I'm not Epstein. Well, it's like, I feel like anyone can say I'm not Epstein. That is a positive thing, you know?
Going into town, have lunch. I'm so not Jeffrey Epstein. I'm just me being me. And it's a crazy phenomenon that has went really viral, and I really,
you know, he could even go a step further. He could be like, I'm not even Jewish, there's no way I could be Epstein.
I appreciate all the support, and just want to reiterate, I'm Peter from Palm Beach, have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. He's a very bad person, what he did, obviously, and he is dead, and I'm alive.
Well, hold on, now I don't believe you, because like Epstein didn't kill himself. So how do we know? How do we know he's not also alive, Mr. Palm Beach Pete? Oh, no, wait a minute. That was kind of suspicious. Holy shit, it's Terry Davis. He lives. What does Pete know? How come it's always a Florida man at the center of something chaotic happening? Florida is actually the main character of the universe, and we're just kind of along for the ride. What is this all my links link? Please don't have a picture of your penis. All right, he's got TikTok, not Jeff Epstein, Twitter, not Jeff Epstein, and a website, just not .epstein. Hold on, let me close this. Okay, the website doesn't work. The website doesn't work, thankfully. I was gonna say that's going a bit far. That's going a bit far. So this person apparently runs Plushie Dreadful, which is a plushie company I've actually heard of before. So that was surprising to me. But American McGee said, hey Reddit, I don't want my plushie brand associated with this crap. We're sending a formal notice to block all mentions of Plushie Dreadful from this sub. It's beyond offensive to have a space frequented by children run by a mod that protects registered offenders. And they posted a screenshot, and the screenshot is on r/plushies. It says, all right, no more silence. More people need to look at this. TLDR, Cedar Wolf runs many subs, including r/plushies and more infamously r/MTF, and has been shown multiple times to try and allow a convicted sex offender on the mod team under a different name. They're now silencing anyone who speaks up about it. It's also a top post on r/subreddit drama. Archive post, another poster re-uploading, it's nuked, but comments are still here, more screenshots. Cedar Wolf posted a response, but it's since been deleted. Cedar Wolf's new response, an archive, and Cedar Wolf's pinned response. More responses, Cedar Wolf's Darvo response, which we've read all of these things previously. And they continue saying, of course, that post has been deleted, and this mod called Cedar Wolf is deleting anything related to the scandal that they can. They run over 100 different subs on Reddit and wield a lot of power. Makes sense now why our complaints to Reddit for clear rule and legal violations were ignored. These people are sick. Reddit is sick. And for the record, this mod has blocked visibility of my reply to them, calling my request a plug. We previously sent them a letter asking for removal of our brand on the basis of clearly evidenced rule violations by these mods. That evidence has also been shared with Reddit corporate and ignored. You literally do not hate these people enough. So let me get this straight. They'll post all sorts of libel and unsourced nonsense in order to damage the reputations of people who believe something differently from them. But as soon as you don't want your brand alongside some guy protecting a convicted child sex offender, you can't get through to anyone. That's the pull out the brakes, man. We can't have you doing that. Your brand will be associated with a registered sex offender, and somehow it's better to have your brand associated with a registered child sex offender than someone who's like, hey, maybe we should enforce our current laws and shit, according to Redditors. What a fucking weird place, man. This is American McGee saying, we sent you a legal letter requesting removal of our brand from this sub. I'm now making that request to you public. The situation is disgusting. As a survivor of child abuse and the creator of Plushy Dreadfuls, I formally request removing and blocking all of the mention of our brand from this sub. We want nothing to do with anything you and Cedar Wolf are involved in. Many of our products are designed around the very traumas that are being called conspiracy theories here. And someone responded, crazy to start plugging your brand here, but would you like for me to make a post about removing Plushy Dreadfuls mentions from here on? That's crazy that they would call it a plug, considering they sent a legal letter that went ignored. That's actually insanity. Fucking Redditors. Imagine Redditors understanding reality. There's a new post demanding that the mod Cedar Wolf be removed from r/plushies, highlight the absolute nefarious nature of a pedo enabler being the mod of a sub dedicated to plush toys. Be sure to drop your opinion in there before they shut it down. That's actually insane. And it was removed by a moderator! They fucking called it. That's insane. How are there so many people on Reddit circling the wagon to protect fucking child sex offenders? What even is the situation that I'm witnessing? That's fucking wild. American McGee continues, strange that people can't understand how these Reddit mods, Cedar Wolf and Turbo Power 1000, didn't just suddenly stop being super honest and wonderful people the exact moment the pedo stuff came out. What's exposed here is a long-term pattern of behavior, a pattern that was very much at the center of our decision to engage our lawyers in an attempt to inspire them to operate within the rules of the platform where they are mods. Which, yeah, whenever I see this kind of behavior, I never think of it as like a one-off. I think of it more as, if we're just seeing this bubble to the surface now, how bad has their behavior been and kept under wraps for who knows how long? We'd actually decided to let it be after the letters were sent, but when news of Cedar Wolf's behavior went public, it reignited in me a strong desire to see these people face justice. Now, Cedar's been booted from r/plushies, thank goodness, but we'll see how long that lasts. And Turbo remains making accusations and saying things that always resolve to confessions. Also, to be fair, if this Cedar Wolf person was suggesting that the child sex offender moderator just make a new account so nobody could, like, attach his previous sex offender registry identity to his mod account, how do we know that Cedar doesn't have an alt account that would just be given mod status, right? This is someone who wouldn't make a new account. This is someone who probably already has a bunch of alts with a bunch of Reddit karma on them, seeing as they're terminally online. So any new addition to the mod team after Cedar's booting, I would be suspicious of. Like, is this just the same guy under a different moniker? Bribes, you say? Yeah, that's a weird thing to bring up, kind of like that time you not so subtly suggested that we might help manifest resources for you. Give me a break. Weird I have to ask this, but who are you going to believe here? People who have been outed as being involved in pedo crap, or a guy who literally makes stories and products driven by his personal experience with childhood trauma and abuse? I've got receipts, Turbo. You keep posting, and I will too. Always keep receipts, chat. This says, hello, Lou. Thank you for the message. Unfortunately, I do not have the ability to check all the comments on Reddit's r/plushies, and have not taken any considerable action on the subreddit for months now, especially with regards to your allegations of amplifying hate of Plushy Dreadfuls. I can continue to avoid moderating the subreddit outside of occasional bans if that's what you wish, but the lack of resources required to do much more than that. Let me know if that works for you, or if you could suggest something that manifests the resources required for me to spend more time with the volunteer moderating role. I recommend that maybe you can instead reach out to Reddit itself. Thanks, Michael. It's like, how about you pay me to do more? What a weird way to phrase it. God damn. You see, Kirsche, they're circling the wagons to defend child grooming pedos because that's the majority of the Reddit population. Grooming and being a Redditor, name a more iconic duo. This is on r/plushies. Plushie Dreadful threatening legal action to remove negative posts about their brand, so post regarding / including Plushie Dreadful plushies will be removed moving forward. That's not true! They didn't say that they wanted negative posts about their brand removed. They said they didn't want their brand associated with fucking pedo shit because you had a pedo shit defending mod. What is this twisting of the truth? What is this? Predator behavior surprising no one. It's like anytime they get caught red-handed, they just try to gaslight you into thinking like, yeah, what you saw and what you witnessed isn't actually what's happening, you weirdo. There's a reply here that says, do you want mods to take bribes / threats from companies to remove / boost posts? As a third party, I don't feel like I have the right to treat that post any different than any other. What does that even mean? What do they mean by this? Someone said I went on that sub to see what was going on and I saw a deleted post with Cedar Wolf commenting as mod and then deleting comments after replying to them. Who does that? Just a string of comment removed by moderator, Cedar Wolf reply, comment deleted by moderator, Cedar Wolf reply, seems shady. That does seem shady. American McGee responded, my friend, shady doesn't even get you in the front door of this nonsense. I think you're still parked in your car out at the curb. Probably best to just put it in gear and drive away. I mean, it is shady. It's more than shady, but shady is a good word to use. I find it super odd that Reddit mods basically have unchecked power. This is a problem for, I don't know, 15 years or whatever. Pretty fucking much. But this was an update on our Reddit mod watching going on. So there's this blurry picture that's like 1 pixel. It says, breaking, the Iraqi man who walked into a Texas elementary school armed with guns last week was already released from jail, according to the Daily Wire. And I was like, I'm sorry, the what? There was an Iraqi man who attempted to shoot up an elementary school and like, I haven't heard about it? What the fuck? And then this person reposted and said, 39-year-old Kyle Najim Chris, also known as Muhi Mohamed Najim, accused of entering a school dressed in tactical gear and armed with a taser and a handgun, was released on a $75,000 bond. And I was like, what? His name was Chris fucking Kyle? Like the American sniper? The day he was caught, no one seems concerned that he's calling himself Chris Kyle in reverse. He's going to kill Americans. This doesn't take a damn rocket scientist. An Iraqi refugee using the name of one of our most famous snipers from the Iraq War is a massive, in-your-face red flag. Get him out of this country immediately. We're living among people with no awareness of how many others genuinely want us dead. And I would agree with that. Like, there's absolutely no way you can look at this guy and think anything other than, yeah, he's here to fucking kill Americans. Like, that is like a China-sized red flag. Come the fuck on. But I looked it up as well, because again, I had not heard of this until I saw this tweet. And I was like, what the fuck is this lady talking about? What the fuck is she talking about? So there's an article here. Iraqi-born man released from jail after showing up to elementary school in tactical gear with a gun. Why? I feel like any kind of man who shows up to an elementary school in tactical gear with weapons probably shouldn't be released. Probably. Maybe. An Iraqi-born man who was arrested after entering a Texas elementary school clad in tactical gear and carrying a gun has been released back onto the streets. Kyle Najim Chris, also known as Muhi Mohanadad Najim, showed up at Zwink Elementary School in Spring, Texas last Tuesday and walked into the front office with a load-bearing vest, a taser, and a holstered firearm, according to court records. Chris, who became a naturalized U.S. citizen in 2022, they all have to go back. Remigration is the peaceful option. Was arrested Wednesday and charged with possession of a prohibited weapon, a third-degree felony. The 39-year-old has since posted his $75,000 bond and was released from custody Sunday, according to court records. Chris allegedly walked into the school's front office in tactical gear with a holstered firearm. After another visitor failed to close the door behind them. I hope whoever that other visitor was is like slapped repeatedly by whatever thing that they married. A school employee asked Chris how he got in and he told her the door was unlatched. Chris also asked if there was armed security on school property, according to the court documents. He was asked to provide an ID but didn't give one, nor did he identify himself. Chris soon left the school and drove away. Chris had a private investigator license and a Texas concealed handgun license, but did not have any ties to the school, according to local news outlet KHOU. Chris is required to be under 24-hour house arrest with a GPS monitor and is banned from going near any Klein ISD property, according to Fox 26. The incident comes amid a string of terror attacks on U.S. soil that have allegedly been committed by naturalized citizens. Last Thursday, Mohammed Baylor Jallo, a naturalized citizen born in Sierra Leone, opened fire at Old Dominion University, killing a decorated service member. Jallo was an ex-National Guard soldier previously convicted of terrorism charges after he tried to join ISIS. Hours later, Ayman Mohammed Ghazali rammed a vehicle into a Michigan synagogue and opened fire on the building before he was taken out. Ghazali was born in Lebanon and became a naturalized U.S. citizen in 2016. The alleged shooter who opened fire on an Austin bar on March 1st was also a naturalized U.S. citizen born in Senegal. Ndaiga Diagne, 53, was donning clothes with the Iranian flag design and the words "property of Allah" when he fired the shots that killed 3 people. I don't know how somebody can see like all of these instances of naturalized citizens and then like with a straight face claim that there's nothing wrong with our immigration process. It's almost like these people are allowed into the country and coddled for a reason. Imagine. The pattern of attacks has resulted in calls to reform the legal immigration system, which makes denaturalization difficult, even in cases where crimes have been committed. In most situations, federal authorities would have to find evidence of fraud tied to their immigration cases in order to pursue denaturalization, experts recently told the Daily Wire. We're not talking about a crime, we're talking about an immigration law violation, immigration attorney Matthew Colkin said. Even though the United States wants to denaturalize somebody because they engaged in an act of terrorism and murdered people in this country, the way that you would effectuate a denaturalization is if you discover a fraud that was not disclosed in furtherance of their immigration journey. See, that seems kind of flawed, right? We should absolutely be able to denaturalize and deport a foreigner who came here and intends on committing terror acts in our country. That seems a little insane that there's something preventing that from happening. FBI Director Kash Patel said on X Tuesday that current law makes revoking citizenship extremely difficult unless fraud in the naturalization process can be proven, adding that it creates a gap that leaves serious national security concerns, and it's a reality we have to confront head on. Apply directly to the forehead. Yeah, something needs to be fucking fixed with that, because we do need the ability to denaturalize people who commit terror attacks. Someone think of the terrorists. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has imposed a $15,000 fee on visa applications from a dozen additional countries, primarily in Africa. The fee effectively adds Mozambique, Lesotho, and Seychelles, Papua New Guinea, and Mauritius to the travel ban. Traveler immigrant visa bans now cover more than 100 countries, and 7 of the 15 countries that sent the most immigrants to the U.S. are covered as well. There are many more countries that the administration still needs to add to the list, like India, China, Mexico, etc. India should have been like number 1 on that fucking list. What are we doing?
Our visa system, okay, who you allow to visit your country should reflect the national interest. We
Yes.
said that from the very beginning. It was one of the directives that we got from the president. It's one of the things he ran on. And so our visa process basically is, now there are some times we'll deny people visas because of activities they've undertaken overseas. Other times it's people that have visas but are in the United States doing things that run counter to our national interest. And the law gives us the right, and in fact, I would argue the obligation to remove people like that from our country.
Yes.
And we're going to continue to do it. I mean, it's as simple as that. I mean, sometimes somebody comes in and says, oh, I want to come in as a student. They're here as a student, and then once they're here, they're involved in nefarious activity. We're going to remove them from
Yeah,
the
get
country.
them out. Fuck them.
Maybe they're here as a researcher. Maybe they're here as, I don't want to say journalist because you guys will get upset, but, you know, it could be anything. You know, these are visitors to the country. A visa is a visitor. It's not a right. By the way, we deny visas every day all over the world. People will go to an embassy, they'll sit for an interview, and the consular officer will deny them a visa because of something that came up in their record, because of something that came up in their interview, whatever it may be. So if you have the power to deny someone a visa before they get one, you most certainly have the power to revoke it once they get one.
You
and do
absolutely
something they
should.
shouldn't be doing. So there's a variety of reasons why visas are denied, but all of them are because it implicates our national interest or national security in some way.
And it seems like it's absolutely ridiculous how difficult it is to denaturalize people in our current state. Like, it should be way easier to denaturalize and deport people who go against the interests of the country and who do terroristic things, right? Kathy Hochul making a weak plea for wealthy people who have left New York to red states like Florida to come back to pay their high taxes to fund failing, unaccountable social programs.
This is the facts that I need people who are high net worth to support the generous social programs that we want to have in our state.
Why would anyone of high net worth want to go there to just be milked dry for social programs? Like, what are you offering them besides we're going to fucking take your money?
Right. Now, there are some patriotic millionaires who stepped up. Okay, cut me the...
I would say they're actually unpatriotic if they're going to New York to purposefully give you money for these social programs. Because by and large, they don't benefit Americans, they benefit foreigners.
Checks. I mean, just if you want to be supportive, but maybe the first step should be go down to Palm Beach and see who you can bring back home, because our tax base has been eroded. So I philosophically don't have a problem. It is like I have to look at the fact that we are in competition with other states who have less of a tax burden on their corporations and their individuals. And I would say remote work changed everything. There were people who could only work in an office in Manhattan or work in New York State, and they were captives to our state. They were going to stay.
So you preferred it when people were captive to the state instead of being able to work from wherever the fuck they want? That's a very interesting thing to say, that you need to basically enslave people who have money in order to give things to people who don't want to work for their money. That's a very interesting thing to say, lady.
We saw that that's not the case. I mean, Wall Street... businesses looking at Texas, they're not going there because they have a nicer governor. I know that for sure. But they're going there because of the tax rate. We have to be smart about this. But we can fund what we want to fund with what we already are taking in.
This lady's fucking crazy. This lady's crazy. How do you do, fellow captives? Yeah, what a way to phrase that, bro. That is insane. They're going there because of the nicer governor, though. That's the funniest part. Yeah, I don't really care whether the governor is nicer or not. I care whether my taxes will be less or not, you know? She's evil, which is much worse than crazy. True. Work from home during COVID really backfired on these people when normal workers realized that their job can be done entirely remote. There are a lot of companies that try forcing you back into the office. And I think it's like, if everyone collectively at your company said, no, we're not going to do that, they can't fire all of you because then they're going to have weeks of no production of anything. How the fuck does anyone hear this shit and still vote for these absolute fucking retards? I imagine there are people that are just like, those evil rich meanies are trying to make sure I have less things, and we can't have that. We need to make those rich meanies stay here and continue paying for my shit. Your company was one that did that? You let your office space go to save money while giving employees more personal time? Yeah, I think if your job can be done from home, and you've proven that you do work well from home and you're not slacking, I don't see why you can't continue to do it 100% from home. It says, breaking TikToker who pretended to be a Trump supporter now claims he scammed MAGA supporters out of $30,000. The man who portrayed himself as a Trump supporter from 2004 until last week frequently shared emotional stories about personal tragedies and often asked MAGA followers for help. He has now released a video mocking MAGA supporters Charlie Kirk and President Donald Trump.
I scammed MAGA for 30 bands. I got the money and ran. Charlie Kirk is dead now. Charlie Kirk is dead now. So we clap our hands and we do the money dance. Trump's a homosexual. Trump is a for beefing with the
I don't think you can call him that. I don't think you can call him that. I think that's homophobic or something, right?
And she said, because, David, you are not gay.
So, glazing over the fact that this is obviously a blatant fraud admission, this is why so many people on the right just are very, very suspicious of anyone that starts any sort of, I guess, pandering to the right, because it's there's so many of these scams that have popped up. And a lot of people on the left pointing this out and be like, oh, people on the right are so easy to scam. Look how easy it is. This guy was just able to get so much money from these people just by pretending to agree with them. They're so easy to take advantage of. And it's when something like this happens, you shouldn't make fun of the people who got taken advantage of because they were acting in good faith. They wanted to help someone that seemingly was on their side, and they know from being on that side how much shit
Spicy
they
cat
catch
raid.
constantly.
What the hell is a spicy cat raid?
How many times somebody on the right is tried to be completely cut down by someone on the left. And so it's like them opening their wallets to help someone and that person turning out to be a fraud. That person turning out to be a fraud should not be the one celebrated for taking advantage of people. It should be the people who were like, yeah, they wanted to help someone and they got taken advantage of, and that's bad. But when you live in a bubble that like celebrates criminals and fraud and just being an absolute horrendous individual to others, perpetuating a low trust society, it makes sense why people would celebrate this criminal and this fraud and demonize the people who wanted to be good and wanted to help someone. They're just evil, period. Yeah, it's like, it's very like grotesque. Real funny of those types pretending that the left can't have grifters when honestly most of breadtube are grifters. And like, it's not even like they're hiding it either. If you are some sort of like multi-millionaire espousing the good of socialism and communism, but you're not putting your money where your mouth is, I think that is the most obvious of the grift, is it not? At this point, the left just operates as if they adhere to is that pretty much. I remember Bernie fucking Sanders, where he's like, oh, we gotta tax the millionaires, and then he became a millionaire. He's like, oh, it's the billionaires now, it's their fault. Somali money transfer business with ties to Maine HomeCare fraud reportedly linked to sanctioned Iranian vessel. Bro, what the fuck is happening in Maine? A Somali-founded money transfer bank, Dahab Shiil, with links to Maine HomeCare fraud and Representative Youssef D. South Portland. You're telling me that there are enough retarded people in Portland they would elect someone with same first name, last name? Are you fucking kidding me? That'd be like literally electing someone named John or Smith. Okay, what are we doing? Has ties to a sanctioned Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps oil vessel, according to a Somaliland-based outlet. A finding that its petroleum subsidiary systemically accepted shadow fleet cargo while concealing vessel identities from its banking partners, the public, and the press is not merely a legal problem. It is an existential one for the remittance architecture that moves the Somali diaspora's money home, said the Somaliland Chronicle in their March 10th investigative report. Can we just like block all remittances? What are we even doing still? Like, we know all of this fraud is going on. Why is there not some kind of injunction on all remittances? According to an investigation from the outlet, Dahab Shiil CEO Abdirashad Duale attended a ceremony at the port of Berbera in Somalia in August, celebrating the reception of the largest fuel tanker to ever dock at the port. Why? Why are all of these people in Maine? It's a great honor for Dahab Shiil Group to be a part of this development project. We believe that this will not only turn around the development of this port, but also create jobs for the young boys and girls, said Duale, according to the Capital News. Dahab Shiil's oil subsidiary, Horn Petroleum, put on the ceremony, according to the Somaliland Chronicle. Photos and promotional material from the event, according to the outlet, internationally avoided naming the shipping vessel, though the name was publicly available in port records. A vessel's name is not commercially sensitive. It is broadcast publicly on AIS and printed on every port document from the moment it arrives. Its methodical removal from an event attended by a CEO, covered by 4 outlets, and documented on video does not have a benign interpretation, they said. That's a good point. Why would they redact the name? While the Somaliland Chronicle claimed that the name of the vessel was the center of the August ceremony was publicly available, they strangely failed to name it themselves. That is also odd. Why bother talking about how it was strange that the vessel's name was redacted and then also not give the vessel's name? The outlet also pointed to another more recent incident in which the tanker, Clifton, arrived at the port in February, offloaded oil, and departed in early March. The vessel reportedly docked with the assistance of Somali government tugs, and the oil was allegedly divided between 2 companies, Som Gas and Horn Petroleum. According to the Somaliland Chronicle, Clifton is sanctioned by the U.S. government for ties to the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, or the IRGC. The vessel reportedly delivers sanctioned Iranian oil. According to the shipping records, the Clifton previously went by the name Queen Lusa. Queen Lusa appears in U.S. Department of Treasury records as a sanctioned vessel for its ties to the IRGC. The Maine Wire could not independently confirm the Somaliland Chronicle's claim that Horn Petroleum received oil from the sanctioned vessel, and Horn Petroleum has since denied the claims, while the news outlet maintains the accuracy of its report. So basically, Maine Wire is reporting on what the Somaliland Chronicle is claiming about the ship being an IRGC vessel. And they're saying they have not been able to independently confirm. Obviously, Horn Petroleum is saying we have no boat. So a state in the United States violated sanctions restrictions? That's what it's sounding like. Horn Petroleum strongly rejects the inaccurate and misleading allegations contained in a recent online article. The claims appear to rely on unverified information. These allegations are entirely false, said the Dahab Shahil subsidiary. For the avoidance of doubt, Horn Petroleum has never hired any vessels or networks linked to sanctioned parties, including the vessel Clifton, they added. They added like an IMO number here. I'm guessing that's another like ship vessel kind of identification tag. And this is a Somaliland Chronicle post on Twitter. Update, Horn Petroleum has issued below statement following our article published on March 10th, 2026. Dahab Shahil and Telesom took fuel delivery from a U.S. Treasury sanctioned Iranian Revolutionary Guard vessel. We stand firmly behind our reporting and encourage Horn Petroleum to pursue all avenues available to them. The Horn Petroleum statement is, Horn Petroleum strongly rejects the inaccurate and misleading allegations contained in a recent online article. The claims appear to rely on unverified information. These allegations are entirely false. Horn Petroleum operates in full compliance with all applicable laws, regulations, and international sanctions frameworks, and maintains strict compliance and due diligence procedures across its operations. I'd be willing to give a benefit of the doubt, except they're a Somalian company, so I just believe that they're lying. For the avoidance of doubt, Horn Petroleum has never hired any vessels or networks linked to sanctioned parties, including the vessel Clifton. The publication of these claims is being reviewed, and Horn Petroleum reserves all rights to pursue appropriate legal action to protect its reputation. The company remains committed to responsible energy development and to supporting economic growth in the Horn of Africa. This would be the second time for Hormuz Telecom linked to illegal Iranian LPG imports, risking safety and diplomatic ties. Hormuz Telecom, Somalia's largest telecommunications provider, is at the center of a growing controversy involving the illegal importation of liquefied petroleum gas from Iran. Investigative reports reveal that the company is bypassing international sanctions and importing substandard gas, endangering consumers while making massive profits. Man, it's more shocking if a Somalian tells the truth, I guess. Dahab Shahil, Horn Petroleum's parent, has ties to the vast interconnected network of allegedly fraudulent home care businesses operating in Maine. 203 Anderson Street in Portland houses multiple Maine Care recipients that have faced audits for allegedly overbilling the taxpayer-funded program. The manager of one of those businesses, Abdi Kadir Noor, also serves as the registered agent for a Dahab Shahil branch located at the same address. Man, that's kind of weird. That's kind of weird they'd be at the same address. Representative Youssef operates Care for Everyone, another Medicaid recipient, out of the same address. I really want Nick Shirley to go to Maine, man. According to state records showing the location of money transfer stations, 1190 Forest Avenue in Portland also houses a Dahab Shahil branch. Maine and Minnesota, 2 M places, now just a little Somalia. Someone who said, so the raping festival is a festival where only the men are allowed to be outside in the community, and if any girl is outside, they will be gang raped by the men. Such barbaric acts in this world, and there are still people like this defending and justifying it. This is fucking barbaric, bro. What the fuck, man? And I was like, what the fuck do they mean, the raping festival? So before I read these, they're quote retweeting themselves saying, bro, what the fuck is a raping festival? And I was like, I don't get any further context here. What the fuck? My exact first thought was, this isn't Africa or India, and it's Nigeria. And she's got a couple of screenshots here of people saying, it is a tradition, leave their tradition. If una de do una oro, who de question una? I don't know what that means. Someone else saying, I'll blame the victim for being there by that time of the night, and I've had my reasons. Yeah, bro. I mean, to be honest, if you're told tonight's the night of the rape festival, if you go outside during the rape festival, obviously it's just your fault. It's not the fact that the rape festival exists at all. It's that you happen to go outside on the night of the rape festival. How could you do this? You can't fuck with tradition. Just like, the more I read, the more I was like, what the fuck are they talking about? There's another screenshot. It's someone saying, women are meant to be indoors during the festival. That's the rule. If you come out, you know wheaten your eye go see. I'm assuming that means you know what you're gonna see. Brother, what the fuck is happening? What the fuck do they mean, the rape festival?
Spicy.
Someone else saying, stop this misinformation. I am presently in Ozoro. They have made announcements more than a week ago that this will happen to a lady if she is caught outside. That is their tradition. So what are they doing outside? Obey. Simple instructions. Stay indoors. That's true. If your government warns you that the rape festival is happening this Friday, really, it's your fault for not obeying and staying indoors. What the fuck? What is happening? So I was like, this isn't enough information. What do they mean, rape festival? What are they talking about? And so I looked it up and I found some articles. March 20th, 2026. Police Nigerians condemn video of assault and gang rape in Delta. The Nigerian police force and Nigerians have reacted with outrage following the circulation of disturbing videos showing assault and alleged gang rape of women in Ozoro, a community in Delta State. The videos, which surfaced on social media on Friday, March 20th, show several women crying and calling for help as a group of men harassed and attacked them in public. In one of the clips, a male voice was heard claiming that any woman who stepped outside during this period risked being raped. That's just their culture! How can you say this is bad? We need to import more of these people. Another clip showed a lady being dragged on the ground with men attempting to tear her clothes while also manhandling her. She was later seen to be rescued by another person. However, several other ladies were chased down the street by men numbering in the hundreds. The incidents have been linked by online sources to what has been described as a so-called festival in Ozoro, where young women were allegedly targeted by men. Reports also suggest that warnings had circulated within the community advising girls and women to remain indoors for their safety. The ICIR reports that Ozoro hosts part of Delta State University. Police condemn the act and launch an investigation. Well, clearly, it's not tradition if the police are like, hey, something's fucked up here. Reacting to the development on Friday, the Delta State Police Command described the incident as alarming, disgusting, and embarrassing, stressing that no cultural practice could justify such acts. And if a cultural practice could and does, then that culture, I would say, is diametrically inferior and incompatible with culture I would like to live in. I'm sorry, if your culture permits a rape festival where women cannot go outside without the risk of being raped, that's an inferior culture. Hot take. The command spokesperson, Bright Idafi, said the state commissioner of police, Aina Adesola, had ordered an immediate investigation into the matter. The police condemned the acts in strong terms, noting that no custom or tradition is superior to the rights of citizens. The police further assured residents that those responsible would be identified, arrested, and prosecuted, while calling on witnesses to come forward with useful information to aid the investigation. The videos have triggered widespread condemnation across social media, with many Nigerians expressing shock and anger over the attacks. Travel content creator Tayo Aina described the incident as the sickest thing he had seen, questioning what kind of tradition could permit such acts. He called on the Delta State government to intervene. Chat, can I put on my tinfoil for a second here? Can I put on my tinfoil for ein Moment? He who shall not be named for DMCA went out to a bunch of different African nations, and then also one of them was Nigeria. And he explained that part of his experience in Nigeria is that, like, all of the influencers in the area wanted to, like, do stuff with him, and I guess it was, like, overwhelming or something. And there were just, like, tons of people trying to interact with him consistently. Would content creators who are used to lying create like a fake cultural festival and commit real crimes during said cultural festival to then make more content about how thing is bad so they get more attention? I'm just like a little tinfoily. This is the sickest shit I ever seen. What kind of disgusting tradition is this? Even animals can't be doing this shit. Shame to all the men in the video. The government of Delta State needs to intervene and shut down whatever culture or tradition this is, he wrote. So this is Taino Aina describing the situation. Doesn't he live there? If this is an actual culture or tradition, what does he mean by whatever culture or tradition this is? If it's real, wouldn't he know? Because he's from there? Am I crazy? Another user, Tyson.nie, criticized the practice, noting that warnings for women to stay indoors instead of arresting perpetrators reflected a failure of local security structures. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, that's crazy. Others described the acts as barbaric and inhumane, highlighting the trauma associated with sexual violence. Also, popular social media influencer Dixon said any practice that violated consent could not be considered tradition. He called for the arrest of all those involved, stressing that customs that contradict Nigerian law and basic principles of justice should not be tolerated. There is no such thing as a raping festival. That is not culture. Any sexual practice that removes the right of women to be willing participants is not culture. That is simply gang rape and sexual assault. I'm noticing that everyone they talk to happens to be a social media influencer. That's interesting. The police need to pack everybody involved if they are not also involved in this madness. Culture is not absolute, man-made culture. Therefore, man can undo it. Why he talk like Grok? Any culture that is repugnant to natural justice, equity, and good conscience is not binding. What the fuck does that mean? Any culture that is incompatible with extant Nigerian law is not binding. Any culture that contravenes public policy is not binding, he wrote. What the hell? He forgot inclusion. That's interesting that everyone they talk to just happened to be an influencer. I had another article because I was like, I want as much information as possible because what the fuck is going on? Police arrest the organizer and 4 others over Delta Festival assaults. The Delta State Police Command has arrested 5 persons, including the community head and chief organizer of the Ozoro Festival, in connection with the alleged sexual assault of women during the annual event in the state. The public relations officer of the command, Bright Adafi, disclosed this in a post on X on Friday, identifying the community head and chief organizer as Chief Omorede Sunday, alongside 4 other suspects from Oramudu quarters in Ozoro. Adafi said the commissioner of police, Aina Adesola, had ordered their immediate transfer to the state criminal investigation department. The community head and chief organizer of the event, one Chief Omorede Sunday, and 4 other suspects from Oramudu quarters in Ozoro have been arrested. The CP... What the fuck does CP stand for in this case? I hate that they just gave me an acronym and I have no idea what it means. Commissioner of Police, maybe? The Commissioner of Police has ordered that they should be transferred to state CID? What is that? With immediate effect. The CP vows that anyone involved will be arrested and brought to justice, he wrote. What is CID? Confused sniffering. Please don't shorten things to acronyms. The arrest came hours after Adesola ordered a full investigation into the incident, following the viral spread of videos showing groups of young men allegedly attacking women during the festival, forcefully tearing their clothes and subjecting them to various forms of molestation. The incident reportedly occurred on Thursday, March 19th, during the annual festival, during which women are allegedly expected to remain indoors, with any woman found outside becoming a target for harassment. Why? Like, what? This kind of reminds me of the Tyler Oliveira video for, like, the poop throwing festival. Not that the women were going to get raped if they were outside, but all women were like, you can't participate. Women are not allowed at the poop throwing festival. So it's like, if women aren't allowed at this festival, what is this festival about? Like, they haven't told us what this festival is celebrating, what supposed, like, reason this festival has. All they've said is, like, there's a chief who set it up, and supposedly women aren't allowed out of their houses during the festival, and if they are, they're gonna get raped. But, like, what's the festival for? Like, they can't even explain. Is it explicitly for that? Like, what is this? Why festival? Some accounts allege that beyond molestation, certain victims may have been raped, though those claims were yet to be officially confirmed as of press time. Idafe had earlier described the incident as alarming, disgusting, and embarrassing, adding that the command condemned it in totality. No custom or tradition is superior to the rights of citizens, he said, urging witnesses with useful information to come forward. Yes. The Delta state government also condemned the acts, with the Commissioner for Works, Rural Roads, and Public Information, Charles Anaigwu, describing them as barbaric and unacceptable. We're calling on the police and other security agents to fish out the perpetrators of those heinous acts and bring them to justice. No individual or group should be allowed to hide under the guise of a festival to perpetrate criminal activities. Okay, but like, what is the original intent of the festival then? Like, they keep saying that like there's no rape festival. There's no festival that's explicitly for this purpose. It's like, what is the purpose of the festival? Can we have that explained? He urged community leaders and organizers of cultural festivals across the state to put in place adequate security measures to safeguard participants and prevent a reoccurrence. The government reiterated its zero tolerance for gender-based violence, warning that anyone found culpable would face the full weight of the law. The incident sparked widespread outrage on X, with users employing the hashtag #StopRapingWomen and calling for swift justice. I feel like this is a very important issue that should absolutely be addressed by people in the country, because it is just wholesale unacceptable to have any kind of rape festival. I can't even believe that's a sentence that needs to be said. But like, #StopRapingWomen just kind of pulls some of the seriousness out of it. That just feels a little weird. One user, Moyo Soreolua, questioned the state government's response. Stop raping women. What is the Delta state government even doing about this? How long has this been going on in Ozoro, Delta state? That's another good question. How long has this festival been going on? What is the original point of the festival? Can someone answer these questions? Another user, NZ, wrote, some cultures need to die, and if your culture is tampering on human rights, it needs to die. If your culture tells you that there are days meant to rape and molest women, then that culture must die. I can agree with NZ over here. He's got a good head on his shoulders. Almost feels like something a leftist would set up to go, look, see, it's happening. You have to listen to me. I think the dude is just paying lip service to get it out of the public eye. I don't know, man, but like, this was probably one of the wildest things I've seen come across my Twitter page, and it not be fake. I was like, what the fuck do you mean, rape festival? Hold the fucking phone, what the hell? So relieving to know that there are people in those parts of the world that have the opinion like you do. Yes, it is very relieving. They just like me, for real, for real.